8 a.m. we are here. We just got through the Channel Tunnel and we're heading to Amsterdam. So we're going to be driving through France, through Belgium, maybe stop off in Ghent, who knows, and then we'll be getting to Amsterdam.
8 years. I get to see people grow year after year after year. Familiar faces, new faces, people pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. And what I love is that when you see people traveling from different parts of the world, and you'll see them in London and in Amsterdam and other places and so on, but you don't just get to see their technical skill grow. You maybe see them at a future meetup in like 6 months' time or a year's time or whenever they come to the next one, and then you can see a clear growth. Some people are really shy, really timid, they're then confident, they've improved. You know, the mental, the physical. You get to see almost that transformation. You get to be part of that journey. Some people started when they're 19, and then I've seen them till they're 24 and so on. And what's special about that is that you get to be part of very important years of people's lives. But this doesn't feel like I'm going to a student meetup. This feels like I've got friends all over the world that share like-minded goals, like-minded ambitions, and we're just pushing each other. And I think it's very special to achieve that, and it's very rare to find that in this industry because it's just dog eat dog, ego central. People don't really care about, they just care about themselves, where what we've built is something really special where people will call people out on their bullshit, and if they're not showing up, you're not just going to coast on by and fizzle out. People are going to hold you accountable, and that is what brings the best out of people. It's never just about strategy. That's just one part. If it was only about strategy, why is there not millionaires everywhere? It's because clearly it's just not as simple as you understand technicals or fundamentals. It's never been that simple, and these are the lies that the industry has brainwashed people for many years.
The only way I can explain it is I've never been afraid to fail. I've never been afraid to just fucking try something. Just try. That's what I do with my trading. You'll see when we go through the old trades and stuff like that. But I've just never been afraid to experiment and try. And what I always recommend is try carefully. That's it. And people, they don't even realise that you can try carefully. And again, it's an emotional block. And the irony is, Rewired isn't about this is going to help you with trading psychology. That's one part of it. It helps you learn. So even with what you're saying, it unravels that. As you're saying, in your neural pathways, I'm struggling to see it, which is normal, right? Because that's your thought that's coming in. You have to address the thought that's coming in. You can unravel that, right? So so it doesn't exist. And my argument would be, you'll learn faster the technicals. Like the psychology.
If I do Rewired.
Yes, the psychology part is what. Yeah, of course. The psychology part is one thing, and there is how quickly can you learn the technicals. So what you often find is someone will go into Rewired and go, look, I'm struggling with my emotions. I understand trading psychology is a bit of a niche psychology. It's not like you've read a few books and you're mentally tough. Therefore, like we've had military people, they've got some of the toughest minds. It still doesn't mean they understand the psychology of the market. Completely different. But anyway, when they go through it, their technicals improve rapidly because they realise all the time a lot of their technical blocks are psychological blocks, but they think they're technical blocks. So it's so interesting how it interconnects. So don't put yourself in a bad situation, but when you're ready, it will boost you more than anything I've ever done.
It's effective, and it's not over one trade, over a quarter. So you took 10 trades, that's one trade. In a quarter, you might take 22, for example. You've then got 22 examples of what is actually going on. And you see the thing, you almost want to hide from it at the start. And I felt the same, where it's like, that impulsivity, I was like, it's a little bit weird. I'm telling myself I'm calm, but I'm obviously not. But it was that I needed,
Where do you think the impulsivity comes from? Do you think that's your nature? Where do you think that came from?
Passion. They were like kind of like devils of the same kind of part, really, because they were both the passion to get to the next level. So the impulsivity to get into the trade was the passion to get to the next level. The want and the fear to either close the trade or get out was not wanting to take the loss or seeing 3% profit, and that 3% is going to take me to the next level. So it's kind of funny how it was just literally a passion for the next level. I was, as Mark says, especially in Beyond Rewired, I was setting subconscious timelines in my head, obviously, even though I didn't think I was, I clearly was. And that showed when, with the Falcon Fund, I passed the Falcon Fund in May 2022. before they brought out the micro-lot rule, where you could take micro-lots to pass your trading days. So I'd passed the trading days with like 22 trading days left. So I actually had to take actual trades with actual lot sizes. My trade quality before was perfect. I took like trades Mark had taken, Ibby had taken, Abdu. Again, this was 3 years ago, so I was only like a year into Falcon. Once I'd passed the trading, the profit, I needed 22 trading days to pass. I just started spamming terrible trades. So you see how it's the same thing. It's just a passion for the next level. The passion to get into the trade, I might make profit. But then once I'm in the trade, it's like I either want to take the profit and run away with what I can, or I want to close it and not lose. You know what I mean? Simple things, and that will, again, each person will be different. But just simple little things like that. And when I joined Falcon, I was 18. I didn't believe in journaling. I don't mean with Mark. I mean like if you
didn't believe in trading.
Yeah, like no journaling.
Oh,
like journaling and processes and routine. I was like, what has that got to do with trading? But those little tedious things over time is performance. Psychology, like I say, is some mystical word. It's performance, whatever that means to you, you know. So that was kind of my thing.
Oh, it was very simple. Yeah, it was very simple. I knew when I do anything, I have to do it like the fullest. So there was part of me that was questioning whether I should, because I know if I do, I've got to go like all in. This is like potentially a 10, 20 year commitment. Because this was a co-working space, by the way. That was my brother's office that I talk about. This is just in one of the little areas. That was where I used to spend all of my time there, just trading. Stonley knows, you came to the office, right? So I was happy going about my business by myself with my investment. I didn't need to do anything. I was comfortable with it. But I knew if I step into this, I've got to go all in, and I can't just start it for a year and decide not to just because it's taking up too much of my time. It has to be like a full-on project. So yeah, remembering those milestones, they're huge. But I didn't start with a big campaign. I think that's what you're trying to get at. It was like I had like 1,000 followers on Instagram. It was just people were asking me more and more frequently that I knew, oh, what is it that you do? You seem to be like unemployed. I was like, no. But you can travel around the world, but you're unemployed. That's something's dodgy about that. And I just realized, even for myself, it does get a little bit boring at 2 a.m. on your own. You know, when you're just walking around and you've got no one else that trades, you don't really know anyone that is in this business. So that for me was like, right, I can actually affect people's lives, tell them, and I saw a big gap in the market, truthfully. I saw a big gap in the market is that people, and that goes to that picture right there, which I realized most people are not where they want to be, not because they don't know how to trade. They're not where they want to be is because they've not actually mapped out their life. They've just got like a version of it. Like who, when they get into trading, doesn't think about, I want to be rich, I want to make money. But it's too surface level. It's like, it's not detailed enough. And that's why they give up, it's why they change strategies, it's why they can't keep at something for long enough. They're not clear on what they're doing. And I already had my goal setting formula. That to me, I recognized, okay, I'm not the brightest in school, didn't get the best grades. That's not where my edge is. My edge is in emotional intelligence. And I realized if I can get people to focus more on this, their why, their goals, their ambitions, and get them to write it down in detail, they're more likely to persevere, more likely to persist, and then they become successful. So I knew I had a formula, they just didn't realize that was going to be the impact then. Yeah, I would say that was probably the first big test where we was growing, improving, trying to build a big infrastructure, but you're naturally going to have people that are unhappy about their progress, where they want to be, those type of things. So we created a group called the Experienced Students, and we had like 15. Who remembers the Experienced Students? Yeah, right. So we had a group of Experienced Students, they're nice enough people, and at the time, like they were exactly what the title was, Experienced Students, and I think it just got to their head like very quickly, and it created almost like wrongfully on our, if we take responsibility on our side, more of like an imposter syndrome, that they felt like they were further along than what they was. And then what happens is, when you think you're further along than what you are, or you think that you're better than what you are in terms of your technical skill at that point, you then start to question, well, why am I not making loads of money? But they were exactly what they were, just experienced students, not really profitable. And well, some of them were profitable, but I saw something in them that maybe they didn't see themselves, which is why I looked at the values, I looked at who they were as people. Those are the people that I think could be a big influence for the Falcon community, and for a long time they were, until they weren't. And it just goes to show you how detrimental it can be, where one bad apple can poison the rest of the bubble. And that's literally what it was. One person kicks off about where they're not where they want to be, and then it was simple things like, we was helping them a lot, and they would jump on regular calls. And then it went from, I think we said that we're going to jump on as a monthly roundup to help everyone, keep them on track. and we'll give you some extra help. But they would jump on calls every single week and then ask, why are you not on the call? So things that we didn't agree to then became our problem, right? And then it was like we was working on a fund. So then we would get calls from the students and say, right, we're upset that the fund's not ready yet. So it's not ready for a reason. So then these people just, when you get in a negative headspace, you find reasons as to what you think is wrong. So your RAS, you will focus on what you think is wrong at that time. And truthfully, these people let me down massively. And had they stayed right now, hands down, like 90% of them, they're probably one of our top performing people on the fund. They were just sometimes 6 months away from breaking through to consistency. And when I saw that, it really made me think about this project for a long time. Like, it made me second guess the project for at one point, because it was like one after the another, one after the another. And I thought, here I am, and I've dedicated my life to this. I've invested so much money they've not seen. Spending £800 an hour on lawyers to create a fund to protect them, but then they've got an infrastructure they can never worry about, and then they turned on me. You never expect it from people that you trust, because I put a lot of time into them. However, I think that was a big turning point, and sometimes the universe moves people out of your way, so then you can go to where you want to go. And for some reason, since that we just went up and up and up, and the community got rallied together even more. The consistency of people succeeding quicker went through the roof. And it was such an interesting time, but a very pivotal point, because that was the only time I second guessed it. Because when you build relationships with people, I mean what I say. So if I say, look, for the next 10 years, I'm committed to this, I actually mean it. So when someone says something to me like, look, I'm here to stay, I'm going to do this, I'll take that at face value, because I can't imagine saying something I don't mean. So if you say to me, I mean it, I'm like, they mean it. So if you don't mean it next week, I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. But it didn't tarnish anything. I just thought, this is why we are in this position, because there's always going to be people that don't believe in themselves, doubt, blame me, blame the strategy, blame Abdu, blame Ibi, blame Abdu again. Yeah. It's always going to happen. But part of building something great is what comes with the territory. Humans are emotional, that is what it is. But it's made us stronger than ever. So I've no malice towards those guys. I genuinely feel sorry for them, because I saw them as really valuable people that would be great people within our community right now. Yeah, so, honestly, so proud of that. You know the Rewired Psychology program, if you go back one, yeah, so the conference that we done, part of that group, if you like, that we were speaking about, was the turning point for the creation of Rewired, so you can thank him all for that. No, he was profitable, doing well. He sat down with me at the conference, and then I felt this like sort of negative energy that was coming, and I knew he was doing well, like making on average about 5% a month. And he said, Mark, I've got a lot of doubt. I was like, you're crazy. I was like, you're doing well, you're making money, and you've got doubt. I was like, people would kill to be in your position. Like, the very thing you want, you've achieved, and you're still upset. And he quit trading completely. He was in a great position, like really great guy, right? Hopefully he does start trading again, I don't know. Who knows, but I know after a period of time, he actually quit. And I just thought, this goes to show you how deep psychology can get, and how we can get in our own heads, and how we can do well, then sabotage it. None of us are immune to this, that suddenly you're just going to forget. So that was the start, or the earlier birth of me figuring out ways of how can I actually translate this into a formula that is step by step, that people can follow and is useful without being like really broad about the mind, that's not even relevant to you and not going to help you become profitable. No, I mean, you can see the constant evolution, right? There's so many other parts, we just picked the highlights to us, but there's just a constant evolution of, when we say we're working on something, this is more of like a visual of just a small insight into the key things that we're always working on behind the scenes when you don't see. H for mastery, bonus mechanics.
Oh, and Dubai as well. Dubai 2023.
Oh yeah, our first wealth creation mastermind. These are huge achievements. To be able to have that many funded traders that are now in a position. Like I said earlier, the first couple of years, there's no way for you to look at the quality of the community, but now we can see it. We can see the strike rate of people keeping their accounts, the people that are getting to six figures. Like the people that are hidden in the shadows that have got like 500-600K and no one even knows who they are. Like, the quality of what we've got is the reason why we're here 8 years down the line. We have some really special people. Right, that's it.
The password is Wicked Grounds. Who has less than 10 people in their group?
Ibi, can you explain to me what we're doing right now?
Right, we're doing a trading game at the moment. So basically, Abdu's plotted on, in the price section there, a lot of trades that everyone here is supposed to identify, and then also defend the trades as well. So there's different experience levels. We're going to see what trades everyone comes out with, and whoever gets the most points basically wins. And they win funded accounts, all sorts of prizes. It's going to be exciting. This is on half risk.
Yeah.
Are you in both of these positions?
Yeah. So half risk on the first one and half risk on the second one as well. So I'll be closing both of them down shortly. That'll put me just back above 2% on the
Oh
fund.
my god. There we go.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Yeah. So
That's a great position to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
If I was there and I knew I'm in the positions, I just need to close them.
I know it's been irritating,
Yeah.
but I'm fine with where I'm at. I think
It would be much worse if you was really unhappy about the quality of your entry.
100%.
Go for it.
Granted, this is 2023, so you didn't have the 4 hour.
It's fine.
So I'm sure you've been dealing with that one.
Yeah. I'll feel it out.
This is the first 4 hour trade we take on a risk entry.
Yeah.
So price is pushed down, we've had a strong push, and then it formed a 1-2, two touch with a middle section. The first candle is subjective, doji, and then we had the next 4 hour candle pushed down. So we took the risk entry, we did 50% of the previous candle on the what you call it, the stop loss.
Yeah.
And then, played out.
Why do you do 50% of stop loss?
The reason we done 50% of the stop loss is because of the size of the stop loss itself.
But does it protect the previous structure?
No, because it got
Thank you.
washed out.
All right, so we're good with that, Biz. All right. I like the entry. I don't like the stop loss on that one. I think it's an unnecessary crop. I'd say that, don't get me wrong, if you had tweezer high test there, I would crop it, right? But because I don't want to stand on this thing. But see how it just kind of touched the area? That part right there would not have subjectively washed out enough liquidity. You know what I mean? If you're looking at it from the point of view of tagging it out, it would have been on like that bare minimum. And that's where I would account a bit more for that, right? Management-wise, where would you have got out on this? I'm figuring you're putting it here, but where would the actual return be?
This is the 4 hour, but on the 15 minutes, you can actually.
So the next trade we took was price move down, as you can obviously see. And there you can see on the 1 hour we have like a 1, 2, 3. About that area where volume gathered. Jokes aside, I think this is more like a.
What's the trade result of this one?
Trade result?
Yeah.
Signaling the reversal in the contract to the other.
No, but seriously, no, because objectively in a backtesting way, I agree with you. It looks fine. Until that moment it happens in the market and you DM me, hey, my broker fucked me. Yeah. Not really. You know what I mean? Like you allow, like when people look at liquidity, right? I was always looking at it from the point of view of, did I get unlucky or did something happen, right? The recent liquidation on Ripple, when people was like, how far did it go? It's because liquidity was so thin. People don't own a $2.2 Ripple. So it rips through it in half a second and it goes to 2.1, 2, 1.9, 1.8, because no one owns those prices, not on mass, right? Versus if you study price action in certain areas, the question is where, if you look at this in almost the reverse now, you bought here, right? No, it's okay, I talk about it. If you have the buy here, hypothetically, right? Where would your stop loss be in a run like this? If you're in the buy, forget the short, right? Like if you caught it from the bottom, well, you could argue you could have your stop loss here, 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 here. So if the market's gonna come and tag the short to kind of take out some of the longs, it's not gonna come back to here. Unlikely, because then that would be a complete turn of the market.
Scotty, message me all their names and I'll contact them in the week or something.
Right guys, so this was just a quick one. We wanted to give you a bit of an update. We're going to be going over these in the lives as well, but essentially what we've been working on, what we've done so far, there's a few other ticks as well, but we thought this would be a cool way to go through with this and a bit of a refresher of the roadmap itself.
Create like an ecosystem.
Yeah, we want it to all like interlink, which is a little bit complex, but we've put in a lot of groundwork. Just in January alone, it was like very tunnel vision, get these things done. Essentially what we wanted to try to show you without going into every little detail, which is we have to work on these simultaneously. We have to work on them all at the same time. So you're spinning a lot of plates, also managing the fund, making sure everything is moving forward, also doing the content and a team meetups. So there's a lot going on and we knew it would be an intense year. But you can see how you slowly start to tick these things off. And then in the middle of the year, like a lot of that will be stacked and full. So this is going to be arguably our biggest year, our most intense year. One last thing as well, shout out to Niall. Where's Niall? There he is. So he's just recently become a portfolio asset manager. So I think it's great to see that we are just striving forward every step of the way. And then when we look at 2024, we've been able to calculate the success rate, like the pathway to becoming consistent, is just so much smoother. All you've got to do is follow in the footsteps of what everyone else is doing, and by middle of Q2, Q3, we're going to be hitting levels that we would have dreamed of years ago. So part of us being able to get to that level is the commitment that you guys and girls are showing. So we thank you all for doing that and just being committed all the way through. The energy that you bring, the loyalty, the familiar faces, it's very, very important to us, and it's what's made this project so special. I wish I could, come up with every detail as to how it feels, but sometimes you have to pinch yourself. All I can say is I've loved every single minute of it, all the way through the ups, the downs, and it's a strange feeling if I think about it. If I was to ask myself, would I be more committed like 8 years in? I'd probably say no, that'd probably fizzle out, because anything you can get complacent, but I feel more inspired this year from day one. That's why I said I'm simplifying everything, and I want to be in the trenches even more than what I was from the beginning, because the reward to see you guys and girls level up is just, it's just so rewarding. So thank you to everyone.
8 years. I mean, how do you put into words the feeling of working on this project for the past 8 years? It's hard to describe. And when I was sitting there, watching everyone at the meetup, we was going over a lot of trading stuff, seeing people grab the mic and speaking about their journey, knowing where they were when they first started, seeing the growth they've made as just individuals, not just their trading accounts. It's something truly special what we have built. And I sat there looking over all of it and thinking, wow, it's almost that emotion of we actually did it. Because even though that you will believe all these things will work out, you never know how all of the dots are going to connect. You have this big vision of this is what I want to do. I want to give people the opportunity to trade. I want to build a fund. I want to have the best education platform. I want to impact lives all around the world. But you don't know exactly how you're going to do it, and you've got to be okay with that. You have to be okay with not having the whole pathway figured out. What I've always trusted in, I know why I'm doing it. And that may sound cliche, but it's the reality of what it is. I know why I'm doing this. Because if you don't know why you're doing something and that is not strong enough, you will give up. You will fizzle out. You won't innovate. You won't put in the work. You won't be relentless. You won't persist. And you just won't find the answers. And when you're trying to change people's lives, it's not easy, because you're not just managing yourself. You're not just building an incredible team to attract the right people, find the right people. You're also managing the emotions of students, and they've got things going on. They're dealing with their own struggles and battles and demons of life. So you have to be able to help them regulate their own mental state, and I think that's been the biggest challenge, but also the most rewarding, to just see how successful we've become, and to think what we've achieved in 8 years. There is no one in the industry that can say they've achieved what we have achieved in 8 years. I'm so incredibly proud of that, but more so where we're headed. And if we've achieved this much in just 8, I can only imagine where we're going to be at the decade level of Falcon. 2 years time, it'll be a decade since we started this project. Enjoy the ride.